My job is to figure out the right thing to do and then do it. The most important thing I do as governor is doing everything I can to keep Texans safe.
Right.
And we've seen people who've been harmed by this. And in fact, I talked today to the widow of Welton Betts. Welton Betts was killed last year at the hands of somebody who was in the country illegally, had previously been deported, previously convicted of crimes, the exact type of person that we're trying to prevent having out on the streets. My job as governor is to make sure we don't have any more Welton Betts in the state of Texas who lose their lives because of somebody who is in this country illegally. And, Joe, now listen, let me emphasize, because you know me, I want to make sure your audience knows me. I strongly support legal immigration. Immigration has helped make this great nation, but there is a difference between legal immigration and harboring criminals who are wanted by the federal government who pose a danger to our communities.
It's Governor Greg Abbott, the Republican of the great state of Texas, just signed sanctuary city or ban of sanctuary cities into law in Texas. And you're getting a lot of reaction from different police agencies. I think a lot of them like it because a lot of police officers in local municipalities, they had their hands tied by mayors or by police chiefs or by sheriffs that were doing the wrong thing. But you're also getting some pushback from some leaders of police agencies. What is the punishment or the penalty for a police agency that refuses to work with the federal government when it comes to issues of immigration?
For an agency, they face fines of up to $25,000 per day. For individuals who lead those agencies, such as a police chief or a sheriff, they can actually face jail time or even be removed from office. And so there are stiff penalties, and frankly, that is one reason why they're pushing back. No one is happy whenever they wake up and find there's a new law passed that can put them in jail. But that's how serious we are about this. There have to be consequences for the very dangerous and reckless conduct of allowing sanctuary city policies.
Well, what's interesting to me, Governor, is that the local municipalities have no problem calling in the FBI when there's a bank robbery. They have no problem calling in the feds or the FBI, some sort of help from a national authoritative body when there's a murder investigation that might have been a kidnapping and then cross state lines or something. Why is it that these local municipalities, some of them, are trying to act as if it's the job of the federal government because the Constitution says so? It's not our job, so we refuse to play ball, when you and I both know they work with the federal agencies all the time.
But also, Joe, here's the deal. Now that we passed this law in the state of Texas, it's not the job of the federal government. It's the job imposed by the state of Texas.
Okay.
And so the result is, now that it's a state law, not a federal law, now that it's a state law, if these law enforcement officers don't want to do it, they need to get out of the job of law enforcement. If what they really want to do is to get involved in social work, then go be a social worker, by God, if that's what you want to do. If you want to be in law enforcement, the state of Texas expects you to enforce the law, period.
There were people out in front of the governor's mansion holding signs. There weren't that many. The media tried to act like it was more, but holding signs saying, Greg Abbott is a racist. I'm not going to go to Texas because of Greg Abbott. Greg Abbott hates Latinos. I mean, they must not know who you're married to, first of all. And second of all, they must not know your track record for being on the right side of the law when it comes to all people of Texas. When you see something like that, do you assume, Governor, that it's just, some paid protester or some protester that doesn't really know who you are? Or do you take it to heart and think to yourself, well, I don't want anybody to think I'm racist? How do you take something like that?
Well, first, you know what it's all about when you realize there are more TV cameras out there than there are protesters.
Right, exactly right.
So it's something that will have little momentum, all for show. But second, it is important that people realize that my family is Hispanic. I've been married to the first Hispanic First Lady for 35 years now. And so this is something that is very clearly not anything against any particular race. But think about this concept. A law in and of itself doesn't target any particular race. Immigration doesn't target any particular race because we have people coming from across the entire world,
right,
across our border, coming into the state illegally. In fact, most of the people coming across the border illegally, they're not from Mexico. They're from other countries across the entire globe. And let me emphasize one thing, and that is not only is racial profiling illegal, we made sure that it was clear in this law that racial profiling was illegal. So nothing is going to happen that compromises anybody on the basis of race. And in fact, police officers are not required for you to demonstrate in any way what your legal status is. What their job is to do is to make sure that if there is an ICE detainer request, that they are acting to try to comply with that ICE detainer request. so that the federal government will know if there is someone in this state or country that they are seeking to be held.